Well, I feel like a newscaster sitting at a desk here. Welcome to the evening news. I'm John with the weather.
And I am Murph with sports.
Right? Murph has all the bad news because we're going to talk about the Raiders.
Don't ask me about it.
No, true. No, who we really are is I'm John and this is Murph, and we're talking trains once again here on the Talking Trains show on TSG.
Yeah, and we had quite a lively pre-session here. I hope it continues as good as it has been already.
Yeah, so give a little backstory here. So Mike Osborne, who I think I met him about 5 years ago or close to 5 years ago, and we've become friends since then. And a couple months ago, Mike convinced me to have his friend Mike. So there's going to be two Mikes coming on. And we had such a great time, and we called it Cab Chatter, right? It's like modern railroading, tales from the rails kind of thing. And so Mike, after we had such a great time and people really liked it, he's like, oh, I have another friend that I want to bring on. So we're going to have a third modern railroader on today. And it's a great time, I think, for people who are interested in railroads and trains to ask their burning questions, like, which locomotive is the best one to sleep in, right? To take a nap and all that kind of stuff. So let me bring the Mike and Mike on first here. We have to wish, there they are, Mike Osborne and Mike Jarel, but their names are reversed on the picture there. Mike Osborne is actually on the right. Mike Jarel is actually on the left.
Looks right.
Luckily, they both answer to Mike.
Yeah, they both answer to Mike, so it's okay. on the screen, it's actually reversed, guys. Just so you know.
Not on our screen.
I know, but there's something wrong with your screen. I'm seeing what the people are seeing.
Both of us too.
Yeah, well, you're both Mike, so it doesn't matter. So, but now I don't remember what we did last time. So Mike Osborne is Ozzy, and I can't remember, Mike. What was your nickname last time? Was it Nappy?
Nappy, Chia.
Chia, that's what it was. Yeah, it was Chia.
Yeah.
Pops.
Yeah.
Pops.
What did you say? Bob's?
Pops. That's
Pops.
a slang term for retaining valves.
Oh,
P-O-P-S.
okay. Does that have something to
information?
Now, we actually said retaining valves at one time, and I earned the nickname.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure so it was earned at least.
Oh, yeah, they're all earned.
Yeah, one way or another, we learned last time. So, Mike, happy birthday! It was Mike's birthday yesterday, so everybody send flowers and money to Mike for his birthday.
And
my birthday was on
Saturday.
Yeah, my birthday was Saturday, so send money to me too. Thank you very much. Murph's birthday was last
Mike
July,
gets
so
flowers,
yeah.
give money, huh?
Well, money's good, yeah. Murph's was last July, so you owe him not only the money but also interest on it.
Okay, that's great.
So, but anyway, since
He takes PayPal, Patreon,
Venmo,
YouTube. You can send money through YouTube.
Yes.
yeah, that whatever. We're not picky. We'll take money if you're trying to pay us. We'll take it.
Yeah, look for me on Only Train Fans.
Only train. So, Mike, since it was your idea to bring Shawn on, which we'll have him on here in a minute, but why don't you give us a little backstory about Shawn, or Smitty, I learned is his railroad nickname.
Well, Smitty is a current UP engineer. He was a road foreman at one time over the Tehachapi area. He was also a clerk at, I think he can go into a little bit of that. He was also a clerk a long time ago, but he's still working for UP. And he's going to kind of go through a little startup procedure about the PTC, how it sort of works, interacts with the track warrants and all that stuff. It's kind of a complicated system, but we're hopefully going to shed some light on that.
Cool.
And
all right. Well, why don't we bring on Smitty then? There he is. Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. So what would you tell the people watching about your experience and all that?
First of all, are you getting any movement out of me? I'm a little stifled here.
Yeah, it looks good here.
Okay, good. First of all, when you were talking to Mike Jarel about his nicknames, you probably could call me Nappy, not him. But second of all,
nap it out a little bit more.
yeah. Second of all, I'll be sending this in the mail to each of you, John and Ozzy. So you should receive this in about 2 or 3 years.
Thank you.
A little about my background. I started with the Southern Pacific 33 years ago. I started as Ozzy said, a clerk at ICTF, and then I was a putt-putt driver. And what a putt-putt driver is that at ICTF we loaded the containers onto the trains. Well, I was one of the guys that drove the trucks that drove the container up to the train, so the crane operators could take the chassis off the putt-putt and put it on the train. About 6 months later, I learned how to be a crane operator, and I was a crane operator. And about a year and a half of doing that, I said, I got to get the heck out of here. So didn't know how to get out, and just waited for a train to come pull in. There happened to be a crew on it, and the guy I happened to talk to, you guys will remember, is Sam Ledford.
Oh yeah,
Sam Ledford. And
Sam?
Was that
Sam or Tim?
No, Sam.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, Sam. And Sam told me how to get out of there. He told me how to transfer it. He said, call San Francisco, tell me you want to transfer out, and they'll tell you how to do it. And 6 months later, I was on the other side. Yeah. So the thing about me is when I came in as a trainman, but we were so short-handed of engineers is that they took a lot of us, about, I think it was 10 of us, and put us straight into train service, into engine service. So I was never a conductor. I was never a brakeman. I never worked the ground. I was always in the seat. So I did hostling for about 2 years down at Taylor Yard. And then after I got my license, I went on the road. And here I stand, or sit,
Nice.
one or the other. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not retired yet though, right? So the Mike's retired.
No.
Yeah.
Ha ha.
Wait, I thought your name was Mike, not Dick.
Yeah. I could have retired 3 years ago. The fortunate part is having this job, I was able to do a lot of things, and I was able to put 2 grandkids through college. So I couldn't retire because I had to get them out of college.
Yeah.
So now they're done. I got a raise.
Oh, so a little incentive.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little incentive. Yeah. Yeah. So
Nothing like golden
that,
handcuffs.
that's right. That's right.
The best kind.
So that's my story in a nutshell.
Nice. So we
Yeah.
had this idea, right, with Ozzy talking about modern day train operations. So what were you thinking, Mike, when you had that idea come into your head? Sorry, Mike, the other Mike. Mike Jarel looked up when I said Mike. He's like, huh? Ozzy.
I'm a dinosaur, man. You talk about modern trains. I don't know how much help I'll be because I resisted it all. I stayed on locals. You know, I retired off a locomotive. My very last day at Oxnard was a GP40 that had the exact same seniority I did.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Almost.
Yeah, but you didn't retire that long ago, though, did you?
So it'll be 8 years.
Oh, that long ago. Okay.
8 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In July.
Yeah, because now on local, well, I don't know about down there, but most of our locals up here are like the SD59X or whatever they're called, and bigger engines like that.
There are some Jeep 60s, I think, up here for locals.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
I've seen Jeep 60s.
60s, yeah.
Yeah.
Which were the pride of the fleet in the mid 90s.
Yeah, they were frontline. I used to call them hot rod 60s.
Yeah.
But yeah, GP40s, 38s, and 60s are kind of, 4-axle are on a lot of locals in, based in the LA basin or based out of
Now,
LA. Go ahead.
Oh, when I was going to say, when Mike and I hired out, they were still using a lot of GP9s on a lot of locals in the Los Angeles basin. A lot of those SW 1500s, a ton of those in the what they consider the more high end stuff that they didn't want to have delayed, like at the Shops Tower. They were using those exclusively, those 1500s, because they really moved out. And then a lot of the SD7s that were recently rebuilt at the time, they were using those in the Taylor Hump and the Taylor C yard and the Taylor A yard.
In the haulers, the tramp jobs. Yeah,
they didn't, they were just, kind of reliable, but they did the job,
They were good. We called them bowl engines, the ones that, handled heavy cuts, block switching and everything. They would use a couple or maybe 3 SD7s for that work. And they were pretty reliable for that. When SP rebuilt those first generation locomotives, they did a good job. They were reliable.
And of course they were high. If people that don't know, they were high hood, 6 axles also.
Yeah. Well, they called the SDs Cadillacs, didn't they?
Well, the SD9s were the Cadillacs, and the SD7s were just rebuilt SD9s.
No, they were 7s.
Oh, they were 7s? Okay.
All along, yeah. Right. They had the same trucks. SD7 and SD9 had the same trucks, and they rode just as nice. And they called them Cadillacs because they rode so beautiful. Those 6-axle Blomberg trucks were just amazing.
Yeah.
But of course, in the yard, at Taylor Yard, you never got above 10 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So, it was, those jobs were the old fashioned, pull down slow, just take your time, because you were just going to get more work. So they were just, other than, having a hump at the, 3 and 4 miles per hour or less.
Yeah.
And, you needed to, just pull these cuts out, start humping them.
So, Shawn, what's your ride? What do you get to drive?
What do I get to drive?
Yeah.
Well, actually, in my younger days, I did actually get to do the SD9s down at Taylor Yard. You couldn't see nothing, but because the SD9s were the one with the noses on them, right?
Yeah, they're high nose.
Yeah, high nose.
Yeah, the high nose. But what do I drive now? That's just funny. Basically, what we have now is all comfort cabs. In the yard, you have the old 1500s, and the all 4 axles, and you have a couple of 6 axles. Well, actually, we only have 1 6 axle in the yard. That's a 1709. But basically, everything else is comfort cabs. All the AC units. We get some Dash 9s every once in a while, which was one of the first comfort cabs that came through. But now they're all AC units now, pretty much. The bad thing about that is that every AC unit or comfort cab you get into, they're all different, and there's no how you put it. They're all different. You jump into a cab and you really have to sit down and look at what you're doing before you start running, because the electronics are different, the setups are different, and running a train is easy. Starting it out is hard because you have to figure out what you're doing. Yeah.
So yeah, the comfort cabs are the wide noses, right?
Yeah.
The comfort cabs are What's that?
So comfort's kind of an oxymoron for me. Wide cab's okay. I hated those things.
But isn't it
conventional cabs were laid out much more for the engineer. A desk control was somebody thought that worked in an office thought we needed a desk for controls.
Yeah, and those are the most horrible ones to run. And I'm surprised there wasn't a lot of injuries behind those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been told that you had to really hunch over those desk style controls, which made people's upper backs and really everyone's all different parts of their backs, depending how you were hunched over the thing. I don't remember who told me.
Well, it was the least.
Were not thought out. The conventional cabs with the AR control stands, they were great for anything: running, switching, backing up. It didn't matter where you were or how you position yourself. All the controls were in the sweep of your hand, and you didn't have to hunch over or reach or anything. And for some reason, somebody thought, no, these guys need a desk.
but they are great for putting your feet up on the desk.
Oh yeah,
Oh, right.
but so are the heaters on the conventional locomotives.
Yeah,
Right. Talking about the desktops, they were the least ergonomic cabs that you could ever have. They were horrible. They still are, and because they're still in existence. The problem with railroad companies and using different engines or buying different locomotives is that they never had the conscious thought to say, hey, let's talk to the locomotive and see what they think.
Yeah, back in the day, they did.
Yeah, back in the day, they did.
Survey?
Yeah.
What would you get, like a survey saying what are the features that you would like to see on or what would make your job easier, that kind of stuff?
Well, when they developed the AAR, what they call the AAR control stand, they actually they had a team that went back to EMD with a select bunch of engineers off of different railroads, and they all sat in the mock-ups of the cabs, and I mean everything was positioned for the it was just everything was designed around the engineer. Today things are designed, they're not designed around who uses them, they're designed around who maintains them or what's the easiest to work on. I guess, I don't know, but yeah, they don't. Probably the worst were those gen sets. I mean, and they ordered hundreds of them without even trying one out. They didn't demo those, and they used to do that a lot back in the 70s and 60s. They would demo locomotives, and crews got to work on them. Engineers got to try them out. The road foreman saw them, and then based on their experience, and they would have representatives from the builders with locomotives, and they would get feedback and then go back and improve on production locomotives, especially if they got an order from the railroad. But we used to get demos from EMD all the time, in EMD colors.
Yeah, those are the ones with the paint. They make models of those now. They call them demonstrator units, right?
Yeah,
right.
blue and white.
Yeah, blue and white or red and white, right?
Right. GE, GE, I think had the red and white and gray, I think, or something like that. But Shawn talks about how the cabs keep changing around. When I started, oh my God, you had so many different types of reversers and so many different types of cabs depending on GE or Alco. There were still couple of Baldwins, I think, left around. And even the GEs, as they progress from like the U25s to the U28s, U33s, they kept changing their control stand. They had some pretty exotic stuff. And then the Alcos were different. And even EMD, the first generation cabs that we had with the SD7s and 9s and GP9s were just completely different than later EMDs.
Different brake valves.
Oh, everything. Yeah, different brake valves.
So could you expect to be given a different engine every day you reported on the job?
If you're working the extra board, yeah. Or if you're working the main line, the first thing you looked at, Shawn will back me up on this. First thing you look at, what's that lead unit?
Yeah. Yep.
Because that's where you're going to be living.
Yeah.
Right.
For the next 12 hours.
Yeah.
Is it any different nowadays, Smitty, doing, showing up? I mean, if you have your own job though, right? Because you work the same job every day, don't you? Or every day you go to work?
No. I'm on the extra board. So I get called when anybody kind of lays off their job, and depending on what position I'm in, if I'm in the first position, then I get called for the first thing that comes up. So I can work the Saugus, I could work the butt job, I could You know, I could get called for a patch on the MGM. There's all kinds of things you can get called for.
So are the locomotives that you're running into from day to day on your regular job on the extra board very different from each other?
Not necessarily at Gemco, because at Gemco it's a primary spot where they primarily keep the same locomotives there. Because back in the day, you know, if you had a locomotive went down, they'd send it to the shop. Well, now the shop comes out to Gemco. You know, they have rovers that come out and service the engines and tries to fix them. Unless it's something that has to go in, like a traction motor, or, you know, wheels need to be peeled or something like that. Then they ship them off. But, you know, tedious things like changing brake shoes and stuff like that, they send guys out. So basically in the yard, we get the same locomotives, and which is a good thing, because then you get to know the locomotive, you get to know what it can do, you get to know what it can pull. You know, if you have 12,000 tons, you have 1,200 tons, we know that 2 engines are not going to pull it on the Saugus, because we got to get up the hill through the tunnel. So you know your averages, you know what you can work with, you know what you can't work with. Right. It's just when you get like Mike said, Mike Jarel, is when you get on the main line, that's when you get into problems. Because now you got to figure out what you have, what engines you have. Are they loading? Are they 100% loading? Are they 50% loaders? You know, what kind of problems you're going to have? Yeah. So, I mean, I had a train the other day I patched and almost died on Metrolink. We almost stalled because we didn't have enough power to pull the train.
Oh, that could be really bad on a commute heavy line, huh?
Yeah. The dispatcher was screaming at me for a minute.
That must have been stressful.
It can be, especially when you're stopping and running back to start engines up. Yeah.
Oh, someone has a question for one of the mics. I'm not sure which mic this is geared toward, but they want to know.
No, Henry's not working anymore.
No.
Well, we can tell probably by what the question is who should answer it.
Yeah.
Whether it's, you know, trainman related or engineman related.
No, he's been not working for a long time, as far as I know, right?
Yeah, he retired a few.
Oh my God, they've retired before I did.
Yeah.
Except for Byron's son.
Yeah, I think Henry's been gone for over 10 years, hasn't he? At least
Easily.
Yeah.
So this must be someone that retired out of your area too, I'm guessing, if they didn't know that. I don't know. I can't tell from the name because it's kind of a RXR con for life. I don't know what that means. Railroader, maybe?
Conductor for life.
Railroad conductor for life. That's what that is. Yeah. Do you know who it is, Mike?
I have no idea.
No.
And he just referred to Henry as Pops.
Yeah.
Oh, John Pace.
The names never die.
Oh, John Pace.
John Pace? That's John Pace?
Is that John Pace?
I think it's John Pace.
Oh my God. How are your horses, John?
Something tells me we're going to get in. If we start going down that road, we're going to get into all kinds of inside jokes, huh?
Oh, mostly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, kind of like the nicknames, right?
Yeah.
So then if you're getting different engines all the time, this kind of goes back to what Shawn was saying at the beginning. The layout of the cab is different each time. I would think that kind of starts to harm your reaction, your capability to have quick reaction time in that. I mean, are the controls in different places on each of these engines or what?
Oh, if you're talking to me, controls can be in different places. The instrument panel could be in different places. The PTC screen could be in a different place. It like I said, you walk in and you're walking into a new situation every time you walk in. So you really have to sit down and evaluate what you're doing, where everything is, and how you're going to run this train. And not only that, is if you have any problems with the other engines, you have to walk through your engines, through your consist, to find out what everything else looks like. Because if you have problems and you need to fix something, you need to go back there and go, oh, okay, this is this engine, or this is that engine. Okay, this is over here. You know, there's the cabinets in the back. They store the PTC valves, and so you have to know, oh, is the PTC valve in the back panel or is it in the nose? So,
Oh wow. Okay.
It
Yeah.
seems like they'd want to standardize all that stuff so that it's not confusing. No, but I mean, because it would lend itself to better productivity if it were standardized, wouldn't it? I mean, one would think anyway.
You would think, but don't forget the PTC's an add-on.
Yeah, for a lot
So-
of locomotives.
so
they're add-on.
They had to put the breakers where they had room, I guess, and so they are
Wow.
in different locations, just like Shawn said.
yeah.
And they
Yeah,
had to
but-
find room for all the other equipment other than just the displays. They had to find room for all that stuff in the cab.
And
Some
probably
of those wide cab units, there's a little more room, but these older units, there's not a whole lot of room in the nose for all that stuff.
Yeah, the
So-
older units didn't even have event recorders at first, so those were, you know, it's like when it went into a shop to have an event recorder installed, that particular shop would, you know, the worker would put stuff wherever he thought it would fit, you know, type thing, right?
That's
Kind
what I
of-
was gonna ask.
Kind of funny story. They tried to blame me for some incident at Oxnard, and they sent the road foreman down to download the event recorder. He couldn't find it.
That was something I was going to suggest or inquire about was, and this happened, I think, with a lot of, especially in the steam era, you know, people would get stuff in the shop and they would just be like, here, just make it work, get it back on the road. And they're probably doing the same kind of thing. So depending who looked at it that day would depend where they put stuff. So that does make a lot of sense, actually, given that context. So, but I have a question about the locomotives. Like, you know, you're saying, Shawn, that you show up and then you want to check it out and see what the locomotive is and how it works and all that, you know, performs. I should say not works, because you know how it works, but how it performs. And one of the things that people say about steam engines is that they could be made in the same run of engines, and one is going to do everything you ask it to do, and the other one's going to be just a pain in the butt, and will, you know, really have to work to make it do what you need it to do. Referring to steamers, right? But are the diesels like that too? Where, like, are they really different from each other, or is it more like a car production line where, you know, if you've seen one of this type, you've kind of seen them all, and they all kind of run the same way? Are they different that way, or the same that way?
Oh no, they're all different. Because as you know, when you build a consist, say you have 4 engines, and say you have a GE, 2 EMDs, and I don't know what else do they have now.
That's it, I think.
Well, there's the various.
But they do work independently of each other, because sometimes they just don't talk to each other correctly. You have different computer systems in there now. Some don't link up through the MU cables. One would do one thing. I've had engines, actually, you go on dynamics and there's an engine in your consist that wants to go into power.
Oh,
So yeah, and so then you get wheel slip, and you're trying to figure out, why am I getting wheel slip? And then you look out the window and you see all these sparks. And you see these sparks every time you go into dynamics. You go, oh, apparently this thing's in power, and you figure it out. So then you try to change your MU cables, try to figure out what's going on, and usually it's just an isolated incident with that unit, because the computers are not talking to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
You try turning it off and on again.
yeah. Restart it. Is it plugged in, sir?
That sounds funny, but that's actually the first thing we do, because we have to shut it down to reboot the computers, to bring the computers back up to see if they start talking to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was working between LA and Yuma, between 2000 and 2005, they had a power desk in Omaha, and if you ran into some problems that we called him Mr. Goodwrench.
Right.
And this guy would come on the air and try to diagnose and maybe walk you through some diagnostics. And usually it involved getting into a computer screen deeper than what we were allowed to get into. You know, they were password protected. And they just give this stuff out over, oh yeah, just put this code in. And then all this stuff would open in, right? And there were all these protective devices that were, in a lot of cases, they were too sensitive, and they would trip, you know, when they really didn't need to, and it would disable some kind of function with the locomotive, either dynamics or power, or you get reduced power, that type of thing. And they would walk you through it. But there were times when they literally had us completely shut the engine down. I mean, open up the knife switch. I mean, super kill the engine.
Yeah.
And wait and then bring it back online. And a lot of times it would reset problems.
Huh.
So you know how they alleviate that problem now? Going through all that technical BS.
Yeah, you retire.
Yeah.
You remove yourself from the problem, right?
Yeah.
So that's
All
the
they'll
funny.
do is say, all they'll do is say, what's your screen say? It will say, well, I get this code, blah, 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 blah. He said, nah, the engine's dead. And that's all they'll say. They won't, they don't go into technical, they don't give you passwords anymore. All they'll say, no, you can't use it anymore. It's done.
Yeah, they just tell you to tag it and do the best you can.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then you tell them, well, without that locomotive, I can't run the train. What do you mean? Can't run the train?
You don't have enough power.
Territory. I can't pull the train. Yeah.
Yeah, there used to be a way that you could do what was called dead lead unit, and it would allow you to run the trailing units with a lead unit without killing the batteries of the lead unit. And oh God, I forget the procedure, but you would actually open up the knife switch on the lead unit and put up some other controls, and it would set it up for dead lead unit, and you could continue on. You can't do that today because you knock out the computer, you knock out PTC and everything. You have to switch the unit off the point. I mean, that
all
was
the
back
things that make it fun.
There's no way to run there's no way to run dead lead unit anymore, because in a matter of minutes, if not hours, you're gonna kill the batteries on that lead unit, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
So what happens?
Like we were talking earlier, John, about technology and advanced technology, that for progression has gotten worse for us, for the simple fact that when Mike Jarel became an engineer, and even when years later I became an engineer after him, it was simple because our engines were simple. I don't know if Mike remembers this, but when I went through fireman's class, they would give us a diagram of the engine with nothing, and you'd have to fill out the diagram of every component in the engine and what it did, the governor, the companion generator, and all the other stuff, because they wanted you to know if something happened, you can go in and try to fix it or try to alleviate the problem that's going on. As long as it wasn't something major.
Describe it, yeah.
Yeah, describe it. And we get along. The SD40s, the GP38s, 35s, and all the simple units, we could do it. Now we can't do anything.
It's kind of like cars, right? Because cars, you used to be able to work on your carburetor or whatever. Now they're all fuel injected with the computer, and you have to be a computer technician just to work on a car these days, right? Or plug it into the OBD to figure out what's wrong with it, because the computer tells you what's wrong with it. It sounds like there's a lot of parallels.
Yeah, it's a good analogy.
Yeah. So wow. It hasn't made our job simpler, let me tell you. It hasn't.
Yeah.
And you get familiar with all the different types of locomotives and the different screens and the different phases of the same model. Like, we had so many SD70Ms, and you knew by number, you just get familiar with the number series, whether you're on a phase 1, 2, 3, or 4. The earlier phases had a desk control, and then the later phases, they actually went back to a control stand. Like the SD70 ACs have. And then the later GEs went back to a control stand too. After years and years of engineer complaints, and you just Shawn's right. I mean, there's even with the same builder, the same model, there'll be different phases, and they'll make improvements or retrofits from previous phases, and you get familiar with them all, and but you do have to sit down and okay, just reorientate yourself a little bit again, where because a switch over here might be over here. You just get refamiliarized with it.
Not sure. What does it say? Are you guys talking about UPSP BNS? Well, maybe we should mention this, and you can answer this question if you understand what they're asking. So for the viewers, all three of the guys that we have on the show here are or have worked for Southern Pacific and Union Pacific. Two are retired now. They're on the upper right corner or upper right position. And then Shawn on the bottom.
I'm the idiot that's still working. Yeah.
Yeah. Shawn's still working for UP at the moment. And so I hope that answers the question. Actually, it should give.
I might be able to elaborate a little bit. We can run through power. You can get Norfolk Southern power. You can get BNSF power. And other than like options, just like you can order a car and put options on it, right? The basics are the same between, we even get Canadian locomotives, which are really neat because they had hot plate.
Yes.
On the locomotive.
Yeah. No, I was going to ask you that. Because a friend of mine who works down where I live here worked for. Well, he worked, I think, for Genesee and Wyoming and did a whole bunch. So he was running a yard or doing yard work that was contracted for UP. And he said that when the Canadian units came in, it was like they loved those because they had every option, including that hot plate you were just talking about. Like, well, that's pretty cool. I wonder why the Canadians are so nice to their workers, And
the real strange thing, I had a Canadian National late model engine in the, probably around 2004 or 5. And the cab lock, the exterior cab lock on the nose was an old fashioned Adlake switch lock. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. The UP wouldn't want to trust us with anything like a hot plate where you could burn your hand on it.
Right. Or heaven forbid if you actually heat up your food.
Hold a coffee pot, if I remember right too. But they had a hot plate and everything. It was all the comforts of home.
Yeah. Actually, the new units now that I've actually seen a prototype of it, they actually put microwaves in them now.
Yeah. And we'd even get some run through engines from Mexico.
Yeah.
What is it? SCM. And it was really cool. I mean, the control stands were the same, but everything's in Spanish, but we knew what everything was. But it was neat, you could kind of make out, okay, that's the translation from English to
now instead of
Spanish.
And those NDM units, instead of hot plates, they had a deep fryer.
Yeah.
Chimichangas on the road.
In case you might make a quesadilla or burrito or whatever.
Right.
There you go.
But Mike, you remember when the NS units come in and the control stands for backwards?
Well, yeah, they ran their units long
nose
forward.
Yeah.
The engineers on the Norfolk, it goes all the way back to the Southern Railway, I think. And it would be funny. You go through a consist and you would lose your orientation. You go into the cab, you see where the control stand is, and you're going through the consist, and what you get into a Southern or an NS unit, and you turn around, go back the way you came because you lost your orientation of which direction you were walking.
Then you go back to the unit you just looked at, and you go, "What idiot set it up like this?"
It's like in the UK how they drive on the wrong side of the road, but they insist it's the right side of the road. It's like you literally drive on the left side. We drive on the right side, so we're doing it right. But this is an interesting question. I saw this and I considered bringing this up. Our top secret producer brought it up. It says, can anyone like me find a railroad job? And I know this person is being serious, but I'm just going to say, look at these guys on the screen. They worked for the railroad. So I think anybody.
And we all have learning disabilities.
No, but seriously.
If you're a misfit anywhere else, you're a prime candidate.
Right. But I think it is a serious question. And I don't, and actually it's a good question because, what do you need to know? Now, I realize that you guys have been around the railroad for a really long time. So, and some of you aren't even there anymore. But what would someone need to know? Like, I know there's a railroad school, but I know that most people don't come up through a railroad school, do they?
No, the best way to get information, because different railroads, especially short lines, some short lines require that you go through these schools because they don't have the means to train you. But the best thing to do, because in our day they hired locally, division by division, and it was all face to face. Now it's all online. You have to go to their website, click on employment, and it gives you the information what they want and what their requirements are. And that's really the best way to do it. If you happen to know somebody that works for the railroad, a lot of those applications that are online, they have a place where you can enter a referral, and that does help. That's like kind of a first cut type thing.
It probably depends who's referring you to them, though,
true.
right?
Depends on your reputation, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way I understand it is a lot of people, they wash out and they have like a little physical type thing, like even like climbing a ladder. And there's a lot of people that they wash them out that way, the physical part. Or back when I remember when I hired out, we had a guy that they had a lot of high brakes, and they would make you climb up to a high brake on a car that was moving. And this guy was really frightened, and they basically said to him right there in the class, maybe you should consider that this isn't right for you,
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of fun, myself. But, the guy, you get up 15, 17 feet on a boxcar for a lot of people, and something that's moving by itself. And, that could be a little freaky for a lot of people.
Yep.
Yeah. If I can interject the last portion of that question, from being in management, they do hire disability, and they do hire a lot of disability. It all depends what craft you're applying for. They hire disability for clerks. They hire disability for drivers. Even in the back shop, they've hired people that had disabilities, depending on what your disability is and depending on what craft you're applying for. So.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to discourage anybody. Always, follow your passion or whatever. But keep in mind that railroad management, when they're looking into the future, they're looking at trains operating with nobody on them. I mean, UP already has an acronym assigned to trains with nobody on them. It's ATO, which is Autonomous Train Operations, and they just recently, the trainmen just signed an agreement that eliminates the brakeman even on a local. So now you got a conductor. Some of the jobs at Jimco are working conductor only, and they're doing everything on the ground just by themselves. And there's this continual push by management to eliminate human beings on a train. So just take that as a, not so much as a discouragement, but, as looking into the future. If you want to get into the railroad industry, hopefully you got some kind of educational background to where if they eliminate a position that you might be able to go laterally somewhere within the company to where they could use you.
Yeah, or if there's nobody on the train, you might be sitting at a desk somewhere. You could be disabled as you want, and go, oh, what's going on here? You could be sitting at a desk at your house somewhere, just going, what happened to this train? Oh, okay, we hit a car here. Now we got to call somebody.
And they're, I think they're already setting up roving
people.
Like a trainman that can drive a truck with all sorts of air hoses, knuckles, and equipment that might be needed to go out and try to, if the train breaks in two, get it back together, or if a DPU unit way back at the rear end of a 15,000 foot train decided to just lose continuity, have somebody that can go back there and try to find out what's going on, because the engineer can't leave the head end of the train and walk 2 miles back to try to analyze what's going on with a DPU unit, because a lot of times you've got to have somebody up front at the same time you're trying to diagnose what's going on and prove what the problem is. So, management's dreams are always, you know, kind of like it's a beautiful sunny day. There's no rain, no snow, no heat. Everything's just wonderful, and nothing could ever go wrong, right? And
yeah, this question on the screen right now, I would just suggest going to the up.com website and just they have the state by state, job by job.
Yeah,
I think they even have little videos of what jobs do. So there are a ton of different jobs that people could be doing. Even these jobs like they call it RMCC, where it's like basically like a 911 operator.
Yes.
Yeah. In my World of Warcraft guild, I have one friend that actually works in computer security for Burlington Northern Santa Fe, and another friend that works in the shops for BNSF as well. So yeah, there are the background jobs. Some of the things that I was like, wait, computer security? That's what I did for Apple. So,
right.
More in common there than anything else.
Yeah, so you just go to upr.com/employment, and they'll bring up everything that they have available.
And every railroad has a website, even the short lines.
Yeah.
Amtrak, all of it.
Yeah, and one of the things Mike was talking about, you know, we're talking about utility guys, and it shows you how UP is kind of, you know, one step behind. Santa Fe has been doing that for years. When I was a manager on the Tehachapi sub, on the Mojave sub, and I worked out of Bakersfield and worked the trains and run from Bakersfield up to Tehachapi all the way down to Colton. They had a guy on the mountain on each side from Cajon all the way to Tehachapi, and that's all he did. If a train broke in two, he'd run out and bring him a knuckle. If a pipe busted, he'd come out and fix it, weld and do whatever. And it made the job so much easier because the trains moved. And that's all Santa Fe is BNSF. They just want the trains to move. UP, not so much.
Well, I mean,
not so much.
I'm sure they want them to move, but they don't want to pay the people to make
move
them
very fast. Yeah, they don't want to move very fast.
Right. There's that old saying from, I think, Southern Pacific, and how does it go? It's something like uphill slow, downhill fast, tonnage first and safety last, or something like that. I know it's a joke, right? But there's something to be said, though, about keeping the trains moving, because no one gets paid if the trains are just sitting there, right?
That's right.
And so I'm sure the shareholders are sensitive about that. I do want to mention something, though. I think it was the same person that was asking about the jobs was sort of saying, let me see if I can find it real quick, because I thought it was an interesting comment. And he's just saying that here it is. He's saying that he really wants to do this. And I have a suggestion that might prove to be more helpful, because it sounds to me like it would be harder to get work on a class 1 than it would be to maybe volunteer someplace. There are heritage railroads and, preservation societies that have trains where this person probably could get on a crew and at least do something on a train crew, right? Maybe not be an engineer. That's something else that I think a lot of people don't realize.
Yes, Dave Hammer actually suggested it right now.
Oh, did he? I didn't
volunteer
see
at
that.
a railroad museum as well.
Oh, I didn't even see Dave's response.
Yeah.
But that's a perfect response, is to volunteer somewhere. But something to think about for people that are in this position, that want to get a job doing this and whatever, is that maybe they should go work for some short liner, heritage, or tourist railroad, but don't expect to be hired as an engineer, because especially with no experience, right? I mean, there are people that work at heritage railroads or not heritage, but tourist railroads, and it takes years to even get on the train crew. So don't expect that you're going to just, you might have to scrub toilets for a year or two. And I'm using that just as a crude example, but and maybe the class 1s might not be the best place to try to start,
Hey, John, I've been on railroad for 33 years and I still scrub toilets. So,
right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, though, is like, you can't just expect to go, oh yeah, I've always wanted to be an engineer, so day one on the job, I'm going to be, driving over to Hatchapee or something, like there's
An engineer is definitely not an entry level position.
right.
Correct.
Yeah, not a specific one, right? Not for skills.
You work up to become. But if you want to be an engineer, you want to try to get into operations, at an entry level, which is usually a brakeman or a switchman, and then you move from there.
Right.
But get on anywhere in the railroad is always a smart thing, because you can always transfer once you're in. And they'll always take candidates from within before they take candidates from the street. So if you wanted to go into what's called engine service, and you're working, as a clerk or as
like Shawn,
within the company, they'll take, their own employees before they'll bring people off the street to, they'll backfill off the street to the entry level positions. But even if you're not a trainman, that's usually their first go-to for engine service. But we've had great engineers that were clerks and mechanics and you name it within the
honestly
railroad.
In any business, if you have an employee with a good track record and they just want to transfer, it behooves you to keep that person within the company.
Exactly.
One way or the other, make them happy.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Let me say one thing that could talk about this person, just to give them an overall view of the railroad, is that if they go into transportation, which is being management, they can't go into operations, but you can go from operations to management. So if someone's trying to get on the railroad and say, oh, there's a position open for management, they'll train me to be a manager. Well, you can go into management, but then if you say, oh, well, I want to go into operating and I want to become a conductor, you can't do it, because it's two separate worlds.
Right, but do you mean you can't do it because they simply won't allow someone to do that, or do you mean it's a harder transition?
No, they will not allow you to do it.
Huh. That's
You would have to. Here's what you have to do. You would have to quit and rehire.
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, because you'd also have to deal, depending on the railroad, of course, but you also have to deal with possibly conflicts with union seniority and stuff like that too. So I could see why coming in off of management wouldn't work, because that doesn't work. You'd have no seniority. You'd be starting off at the bottom anyway.
Well, when you come in as a conductor or a brakeman, when you sign up, you're at the bottom of the totem pole anyway. But they just don't allow you. Yeah, but they just don't allow you to go from management into train service. Now, if you go into train service and you become an engineer, or say you become a conductor, and you've done it for 2 or 3 years, and they say, oh, I want to be a yard, what do you call them now? I don't know what they call them now. They got so many words for them now.
Just use the traditional terms.
Train master or something like that, to work in the yard master, something like that. They can go be a yard master and then say, oh, well, we don't need you anymore. Well, he can go back to his tools, but it's not vice versa.
That's the first I've heard of that.
Yeah. So we hire, or Union Pacific hires a lot of kids out of college to go into management. And so they go into management. If they get fired, there's no place for them to go, because they have no seniority as a trainman or an engineer, what have you. So being in management, if you want to get into the operating side, you literally have to quit and start all over again and rehire.
Yeah, you're entering a completely different classification of job, right?
Yeah.
By doing that. Yeah. It makes sense, actually.
It's funny, though, because at least for field managers, like train masters, yard master wasn't a management position back in my day. It was a position, but road foreman of engines, they wanted people to come up from the ground because they have experience. It's hard to manage somebody's job if you've never done the job. And it's really created problems in the industry, not just UP, where they bring college people directly into management positions. And it's not just management, it's field management, where they're managing a terminal or they're managing crews. And they have absolutely no idea what their job entails. And it's very difficult for them to make decisions. And a lot of them are very humble, and the crews would help them out and explain things, but some would come in with attitude or arrogancy because, they're swinging a diploma in front of them from some big school. And they would just screw themselves, because you turn off the crews that are working from you, they're not going to help you. And it seems counterproductive from what Shawn's saying, but it's true. The best grooming for a transportation manager is from the ranks.
I mean, if you understand the jobs of the people that you're managing, there would be no better manager, especially if you've done all those jobs. So
Right.
it makes total sense, right? Because you know what their challenges are. You were just doing it last week or last year.
The most respected road foreman, and road foreman of engines is basically the supervisor of engineers. Well, who better than the supervised engineers is a former engineer who was, well respected and, good in his craft. And if an engineer could go to a road foreman with a problem, and that road foreman would be in a position to help answer or guide them through an issue that they've had in training. And it's when I left the railroad, I was having road foremen come down to Oxnard. I mean, they didn't know the first thing, and they're trying to tell me how to do my job or critique my technique or how I get on or off a locomotive, that kind of goofy stuff. And it's pretty insulting.
Oh, no, it is insulting. That's insulting to your professionalism and to your intelligence, really. It's not just in railroad jobs. I think everybody who's had a job has had that boss, and those are the kind of bosses that make people quit. So,
now I just don't.
They have this 20-step procedure of how to descend the ladder on a locomotive and get off. All these steps you had to do: look up, look left, look right, look down. This foot first, this first, before you let go of the grab irons. It was crazy. And one guy talked about he was talking about putting in a claim for whiplash because he was looking all over the place before he let go. And we were getting done, and they had a PTC test train in the yard, and so they had all these officials and everything around, and we were done. I got off my engine after I was done shutting it down, all the tie down procedures, and I get off and I'm walking across over towards the yard office, and this really super young officer comes over, and he's really nice and introduces himself and chats me up a little bit about how things are at Oxnard, and then finally gets around to why he came up to me. He says, I have to tell you, I had to take exception to the way you got off the locomotive. And I said, really, what was the problem? And he says, well, you're supposed to, when your both feet are on the ground, you're supposed to keep your hands, on the grab iron for like 5 seconds before you let go, or some kind of goofy thing, right? And so I put my grip down and really turned the face and got a little closer to him. And I said, you know what? I had to be trained how to get on and off moving equipment. You really think that I don't know how to get off a standing locomotive? And I kind of let loose on him a little bit, and he backed off. But it's really insulting.
And that was also Mike's last day, by the way.
Oh yeah, that was my last day.
See, now if it was my last day,
that was hilarious.
If that was my last day and I knew it was my last day, I would have been maybe not so nice like you were.
No, it wasn't. Mike's just being funny.
Oh, okay. That would have been one of those mooning events.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't tell anybody when I was retiring. Nobody. I didn't want, any of the BS that they do on your last day. I just wanted to walk into the sunset, right? And my very last day, a huge test team came down and just followed us everywhere, and we're testing us. And I'm just going, I hope they pull me out of service. I hope they pull me out of service, because it would just be hilarious. But everything was fine.
You'd get the last laugh, I guess, on that one.
Yeah.
There's some
But
joke.
It was ironic that was my last day.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that this is true, but I was talking to someone recently that works on the railroad, and we were talking about getting on and off the equipment. And I know what it was. Well, it doesn't matter what it was, but I said something about, because they were getting down off of a piece of equipment that's actually a passenger car. And I said, don't forget 3 points of contact and back down, right? Because you get what that is, right? You turn, because if you're trying to go down like you're going down a staircase, you'll fall and do a face plant. Or if you do, that would be a really bad way to go, because you're falling pretty far. And someone said, no, UP says 4 points of contact. I'm like, well, how does that work? Because you have to get off at some point. But anyway, we have, and I've been trying to think of a segue to get into this, and you guys have mentioned it a number of times now. You keep talking about PTC, and I know that the railroad, foamers or whatever that watch this channel understand what PTC is, but we have a little thing on PTC that we're going to talk about today, and I was wondering if it would be okay to bring that up so that we can get through that. And there are some questions that I've seen as we're talking, and I want to get to, they're kind of like more fun questions, and I want to talk about those when we get kind of toward the end, where when we do the sort of Q&A section. So is it okay then if I bring up that PTC thing that you sent to me there, Shawn?
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So I'll bring that up, and then you just let me know when you want me to advance it, and we can go through this, because I'm interested in learning how this all works.
Hey, John, before we do that, let's just go a brief history of the PTC.
Sure. You want to talk about that first?
Yeah. For probably a lot of people don't know, they probably do know this, but in 2008, I think it was in October, they had a really horrible crash 10 miles from where me and Mike are sitting right now, where I think it was 27 people were killed when a Metrolink went through a red signal and hit a UP train that leaves the local. Fortunately, for our crew, they sustained injuries, but they did not die. And it was what was it, Shawn? A 40-mile-per-hour, pretty close to a 40-mile-per-hour. One train was going 40, the other train was going 40. And so that was the impact speed. And anyways, long story short, Congress got involved, and they came up with the Rail Safety Improvement Act, and they basically said that these railroads, all of them, had to institute PTC on their mainline operations. And so they all of a sudden, they had to really jump through a lot of hoops really quick. And of course, they had to install PTC on these older locomotives that didn't even have the space for it. And talk about different places where they installed these little, basically monitors and things. But
didn't the mandate have a time limit too? They had to do it within a certain amount of time, which I think they extended, but they were required to do it, within a time limit.
I want to interject quickly here, Mike, because we're using an acronym, and it's possible that people watching don't know what PTC is. So can you explain what PTC means?
Yeah, positive train control. And it's basically designed to prevent collisions, derailments for excessive speed, and then also unauthorized movements like entering the main track. And when I say, entering the main track, as far as like model railroaders do all the time, is basically you are getting your instructions from the dispatcher through the PTC. They actually instituted this later, but it will actually say on the screen, you have authority to enter the main track at this specific location. And it's basically spelled out. So in that way, there's a lot of learning curves here, but it really helps out those kind of things. And it all works off of GPS technology. and radio communication for all the updates and things. So let's go ahead and move on to the procedure, what it kind of looks like on the engine.
Okay, let me bring this up. So these are photos that Shawn sent in, and I've made a slide out of it.
Yeah.
So like I said, Shawn, just let me know when you want me to advance it, and we'll go that way.
Yeah. Okay. So right now, all you're looking at is a startup screen. When we first turn on the locomotive, we put up all the breakers and the battery knife and everything. And this is the first thing that comes up on PTC. You can slide to the next one. So this is what we see when PTC starts up. And you can see towards the upper right-hand corner, it says cutout, which is just telling you that PTC is inactive right now, and the brake system hasn't been cut in yet. Now, to understand this is that PTC controls the brake system. And so until you fire up and go through all the prompts of PTC, it would not allow you to move the train. It won't give you any amperage. You can't use the air. You can't do anything. So this thing controls everything you have to do to move the locomotive. So as you can see at the bottom, the little button at the bottom left is to initiate, and that's where we start right now. So you can go to the next screen. All right, so we initiate it, and all it's asking you is that this will erase any existing data. So what it's telling you is that any data that was in here previous from another engineer is going to wipe him out clean. So you kind of start with a new slate. So what you do is push yes and go to the next screen. And so right here, it's asking you which railroads are you going to be running on. So it needs to know which railroads you're going to transverse because it needs to know the territory, the signal system, and everything. So it's got to draw all that from the servers to place it into the PTC system. So at this time, from where I work at in Jimco, Van Nuys, California, we run on the UP. If you're going north, you run on the UP on the Santa Barbara sub. And well, I should let me take that back because we're not used to the north. So if you're running west towards San Francisco, you would run on the Santa Barbara sub. And if you're going east, you either run on the Los Angeles sub, or you'll run on the Alhambra sub, or you can possibly run on the Mojave sub. So in this instance, we'll run on the UP and the SCAX, which is Metrolink's territory. Okay, John, next one. So this is when you add it. So it'll ask you to prompt it. So it wants to know what you're adding to the system. So it'll prompt you to add the UP, and they'll prompt to add SCAX, so it knows which railroads to put in. What'd you say, Ozzy?
Patch train.
Are you guys
What was that?
just having a conversation, or are you trying to comment?
No, we were just.
Oh yeah, just shut us off if you want.
Oh, yeah, but if you start talking, then we won't hear. Wait, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Oh no.
Here, I'll mute you. Yeah. Yeah,
No,
keep the conversation down in the back over there. I have an actual question though. Yeah, I have an actual question. So I didn't see. Let me look back on the screen here. Yeah, I don't. Oh, I see. So on this screen, I just went back one. It's asking you like you have to select from one of these two railroads. Is that what it's asking you here? So it's saying
No. See where it says select railroads for initialization.
Okay.
It needs to know what railroads you're going to run on.
Right. So what I'm asking is how do you enter those? Do you have to show the list and then select them using the arrows?
Right. So see where it's lit up on UP?
Yes.
So you go down to the bottom and see where it says add.
Yes.
I would push that add button and the next screen would pop up as added.
Oh, I see. Okay. But where does the list come from is the question. Does it detect where you are and it says these are your options? Okay.
No. So the reason why the UP and the SCAX is on here permanently, because it knows this is what we transfer on the railroads all the time.
Okay.
If you go down to the bottom buttons and you see where it says cancel,
Show
and you see it says show all railroads.
Yeah.
If you push that button, it'll show every railroad that's in there.
Okay. So it's really a time-saving device, really.
Correct. So when you go to show all railroads, it'll show BNSF, it'll show all their territories, It'll even show CSX. If this train traverses on the CSX, it'll show Norfolk Southern.
Okay.
So yeah, so it'll show all these railroads, so you can pick the railroads that you're going to run on, so it knows how to initialize.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Cool. Got it.
All right. So next one. Cirrus is added again.
Yes.
Okay. So we go to next one. So what I did was, once I added everything, it said initialize. And now what it does, it looks for those two railroads through the servers, and now it populates everything that's on those railroads, the signals, the terrain, everything that's in that system. It'll populate it into the PTC system.
How long does it take?
It usually takes, depending on what kind of engine you have, what kind of locomotive you have, and how old it is, it could take up to 30 seconds to 5 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are things we run into is when we get a train and it's shut down on main line, and we get into it, and dispatcher's saying, well, aren't you ready to go? And we go, no, we're waiting for PTC.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So you can go to next screen. All right. So now after it's populated, it'll come to the screen and say, press key to accept terms or cancel. So all you're doing is accept those terms that are written on that screen. We don't know what it says. We don't care.
I was going to say,
yeah, you just want to go, right?
We just want to go.
If you want to make the train go, accept this.
Yeah, accept this. So we push accept and to next screen. Now, what this screen is asking is says select railroad for login. We have logins, just like we log into our computer at work. We have to log into the PTC system so it knows I'm the engineer of this train.
Which spacebar? Oh, okay.
Next. Okay. So we push UP because I work for the UP, and this is my login.
Okay.
Okay. So I got to put my employee ID number.
Okay.
And the next screen, I got to put in. Well, no, you went too far.
Oops.
Did we miss one? Employee ID. There must be a picture.
I think
missing.
there must be one skip. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you do is you put the employee ID in and push enter.
Yeah.
And then it'll come up and say, put your password in.
Oh, okay.
And
we
put
didn't
the password
get that
in. Right. And you push enter. That's my fault, probably. You push password, push enter. Now the system knows who's running this train. Because now it says, okay, I got your employee ID number. I got your password. Shawn P. Smith is running this train. So if you screw up, we know who to come to.
Right. So
okay.
The previous were just the blame screens.
Exactly. So this next screen we're seeing is asking us to enter the UP bulletins, which is the track warrants. And what the track now it's this is kind of like a double entendre because when you put in the number of the track warrant, now the track warrants are the paperwork that we get that tells us everything that's happening on each subdivision on the railroad. So if there's a Form B or if there's a speed restriction or anything like that, it's in the paperwork. Mm-hmm. So when you put the number in, go to next screen, put the number in of the UP, the bulletin number is 7131. Now it goes and looks for that bulletin and it downloads everything in the PT system of everything you're going to transverse over. So if you're going to transfer into a Form B, you know when it's going to come up because they'll tell you, it'll prompt you. If you're going to come up to a slow order, it'll prompt you. So the problem is that with this system, everything goes in. Why do you need the paperwork?
Right. I mean, it sounds like this sounds really good, at least, for now. And of course, it also records who the guy was that gave you the warrant that allows you to go out on that train.
Correct.
Right?
So the dispatcher is the one that issues the warrants. You put in the system downloads the warrants into the computer, and now it's there. But our rules state that we are still to look at the warrants and read through the warrants before we leave our terminal or our originating terminal.
Okay.
Yeah, figure that one out. So go to the next screen. So once the computer knows the information on the bulletin on the UP, it'll come up and says UP LOS 65S of the 9th. Is this correct? Are you on the right train? So we want to make sure you're on the right train. We'll make sure that that train is the same as that's on your warrants. Because when you get your track warrants, it says what job number it is. It'll tell you what job number it is, and it'll tell you you're the UP 5233.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's saying, is this your job that you're running? And you push yes. Now it's asking me to put in the track bulletin or track warrant for the SCAX or Metrolink.
Okay.
So
How
we
do you
put
get
it
that?
in.
Is that also on the papers?
Yeah.
Well, it's separate, two separate warrants because we're on two separate territories.
Right.
We're on two separate railroads. So we get a track bulletin or track warrants for the Union Pacific, and then we get track warrants for the Metrolink, which is SCAX.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So next screen, we put in a number. Next screen, it asks you again, is this the LOS 65? Because it wants to know, are you going to be transversing on this railroad on this train?
Right.
So you push yes. Now, once you got through all that, this is the information that's on my paperwork that goes into PTC and is telling me I have 3 locomotives, I am 1,088 tons, I have 16 operative brakes, my axle count is 78, my total length is 1291, I have 6 loaded cars, 10 empty cars, and my speed limit is 60 miles an hour.
Hold on a second. Oh, I see. So your total, how could you have 16 cars and only have 70 and have, I'm not doing the math right. Oh, the axles include the locomotives too.
Right,
doing
so
the
cars
math,
and locals.
Yeah, because it doesn't add up. I'm like, how could I have only 16 cars but have 78 axles? That's a lot of axles.
Read it all, John. Read it all.
I'm reading is hard. I'm bad with instructions too. Okay, got it.
So, yeah. So you have to look at this because sometimes it'll give it misinformation. So I have 16 cars. But what if it said at operating brake count, it said 32?
Right.
Well, it wouldn't be correct.
Yeah.
So what, and I can't show it to you now because unless I actually did it, but if that was to happen, the PTC system would tell you you have an error.
Oh, okay.
Your train can't run because it's not a legal train because something's wrong. But then you got to figure, it won't tell you what's wrong. It just says something is wrong with your train. So you have to go through these numbers to figure out, okay, what does it want? Yeah. So if it said 32 operative, what's that?
Yeah, what's an example of something that might be wrong?
Something might be wrong. It's like I'm saying, if the operative brake count said 32, but you only have 16 cars.
Okay.
So each car is a brake.
Got it.
You understand? So I have 16 cars. That means I have 16 brakes. Now, if it said I had 32 operative brakes, either I got more cars in my train than I'm supposed to, or there's something wrong with the numbers.
And how does it know how many cars are on the train?
Because of the paperwork we put into the system.
Right.
But my point though is if you're there in person and the train has 18 cars, but the paperwork says you have 16 cars, how would the computer know that you actually have 18? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, would someone have messed up building the train or yeah?
There you go. There you go. Someone messed up building the train.
So would that have been you or who builds the, I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent, but I'm just,
that's okay.
I'm trying to figure out,
yeah. The conductor builds the train.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Ozzy builds the train.
Okay. Okay. So that's why it's messed up. I got it. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So, so hence, anything prior to PTC, everything comes from the paperwork that you do
Got it.
before you get on the train.
So none of this screen actually comes from any detection on the train itself.
That's correct.
This is all from the paperwork.
Correct.
Okay.
So then
Yeah.
are you responsible then, or your conductor's responsible to go out and say, okay, yeah, we actually do have 16 cars, 10 of them are loaded and 6 are empty, or whatever that said on there. 6 are loaded and 10 are empty. Let's just make sure that's correct, because we don't want to leave the yard with 18 cars if the computer thinks, and if PTC thinks we only have 16.
Okay. So here's the caveat on that.
Mhm.
If your paperwork says 6 loaded cars and 10 empty cars,
Mhm.
and your PTC says 6 loaded cars and 10 empty cars, we
Mhm.
don't care.
Oh, so you could have 40 and it doesn't make any difference as long as the ones you're supposed to have are in it.
No,
Oh,
we will leave with what the paperwork says and what the PTC says. Now, once we leave and we hit a detector, and the detector says you have 128 axles, where we're only supposed to have 78, and we'll go, oh, we have more cars than we were supposed to.
okay.
Okay. Then you stop and you have to examine the conductor has to walk his train first to make sure there's no hazmat in it. And secondly, to find out if we actually do have that many axles, that many cars, and reconfigure our paperwork.
Oh, okay. So you changed the warrant basically, right?
No, not the warrant. You change your train graph.
So then do you have to
Which is-
communicate that to the dispatcher and he changes what's in PTC?
No, we change what's in PTC. He doesn't change anything.
Oh, so you can actually change it on the train?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay. That's what I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I thought this was just handed down and it is as you get it and that's it. Okay.
Yeah, no. If we find an error or something's wrong, like we go over detector and it says we got more cars than we have, we can actually stop and change it in PTC. And we'll call the dispatcher and says, we're stopped. We have more cars than we thought. We need to check it out.
Right. Got it.
All right.
Yep.
So next. All right. So this is brake pipe pressure must be at least 80 pounds. So what happens is once you have all your information and you get to your train and you know everything's right, what it wants you to do is a departure test. And all the departure test is that before the train will allow you to go, it wants to set the brakes on the train.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it wants to do. It wants to make a 20-pound set on the train before you can go. So it'll automatically do that.
So this is just the brake test that people would used to have to do manually?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just wants to make sure it has a brake test done. And once you go through the brake test, it'll go through a couple of prompts. Go to the next screen. Okay, see departure test. So now it's in departure test.
Uh-huh.
So it says initial brake pipe pressure was 80. So now it says current. Can you see where it says the third?
Looks like 57 maybe?
57.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it went from 80 to 57. So it's saying I'm making a brake pipe test. We're going to sit here for a minute while I do my thing. And then once I'm doing my thing, it will ding and go to the next page. And it will ask you run audible test. And what the audible test is, it's just once you push that button, it will make a dinging sound. And it wants to know that, can you hear me? If something goes wrong, can you hear me?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So whenever something happens, PTC doesn't like it, or you're getting too close to something, you need to slow down, it'll start beeping at you. So it wants you to say, yes, I can hear you.
Boy, these screens make Y throttle look modern.
Yeah, it does. It looks like an old style computer, but I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Does it account for the fact that a running locomotive, that's notched up a bit because it's working, is going to be louder than one that's just sitting there idle? Like this audible test almost seems like a waste to me.
No, because if you heard the audible test, you would know.
So it's really loud?
Yeah, it's really loud.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's making sure that the speaker is working.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So
now what's this? What happened there? You seem taller than that.
Oh my goodness. Oh my. Yeah. That was me playing Paul Fansett, which is one of our engineers, and he's kind of on the short side.
So what, did you have to fill in for him that day or what?
I had to fill in for him that day. So when so I told him, I said, well, I'm Paul Fansett today. They said, well, how do you know? And that's how I knew.
Yeah. So you don't have any fun at work, I guess.
I shrank. Yeah, I shrank by 3 feet.
Oh man, it looks like Mike lost someone too. What happened, Mike?
What's that? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, what happened to Mike?
Oh, he had to go to the restroom.
Oh, he's down in the nose right now, right?
I was going to say, I hope you don't.
He's
have
down
any
in the nose.
monitoring
Yeah,
cameras.
Down the nose.
he's down in the
man.
nose.
So I didn't realize, getting back to PTC, I didn't realize how much, I guess, control it exerts over the process. I mean, I kind of did because I know that PTC can stop a train if need be, but I didn't. I mean, I guess it makes sense because you'd have to register. You have to go through all that stuff to get going. So it makes sense. It just never really registered with me how involved that would be. And that seems like a pretty involved process.
It is.
It's very involved. It takes about, like you said, going back to depending on what kind of locomotive it is, how old it is, when it was installed. PTC, to get through the whole prompting process, can take anywhere between 5 and 20 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's when. Yep.
And then don't forget, when you're showing the two railroads, when you're running on the main line at say 50 miles per hour, it's a seamless transition to that other railroad. And that took a long time for things to work out right. It didn't just happen automatically. It took a lot of, they would just throw it, possibly, it wouldn't accept it, or it wouldn't know who you were at that point when they were going through the trials of it.
John, I sent you 2 pictures. Is it possible to bring those up?
I'd have to find them. Did you text them to me, or how did you send them?
I text them. Yeah, I text them to you.
I see one picture that looks like a bunch of guys. Is that one of the ones?
Oh no, it should be after that.
Oh, I don't have anything after that unless it's on email. So,
no,
but
email.
We are on now.
Let me try this again.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Maybe if it came through on my phone, but not on my computer. Oh, here we go. I got it on here. So let me see if I can share these straight to my computer.
Okay.
I think I can. Yeah, I think I can. So just give me a second here.
Well, one of the things that I'll say about that you talk about the paperwork being correct, or the cars in a train, when you're making a shoving, it really becomes important to have the.
Yes, it does. Yeah,
because it will.
Sorry, when you're doing what, Mike?
Coming at you, and it will stop you in emergency. And
when you're doing what? I missed that part.
Well, if you're shoving a cut of cars like on a local, and you're running up to a signal, that paperwork has to be correct. Otherwise, it will put you in emergency.
So how do you? Wow. So is that something you have to stop or enter before you start your shoving maneuver?
Well, they have those zebra devices and things, and that's how you upload it. But when you get up to an A signal, let's say, or a control point, if it has the wrong information in it, it will think that another train is coming at you because it got there sooner than the system expects you to. So it will put your train into emergency.
Okay, interesting.
Understand what I'm saying? So if you don't have the right number of cars, like you were saying, if you said it had 4 cars and you have 6, it thinks that another train's coming at you. It'll stop you, and then you got to account for that emergency braking.
Right.
It's like sort of like running a red signal in a way, but you're not really. But it thinks another train's coming.
Right.
I'm trying. That's right down to the foot.
Go back to desktop.
I found the pictures, Shawn. I'm just trying to figure out how to bring them up from my desktop onto our screen here.
Okay.
That's this. Yeah, that's this one. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Let me do this just to distract you. You can tell people what the story is behind this one if I can find it. Hang on a second. I have more questions, but I'm not able to think of them while I'm doing stuff. So give me a second here.
What are those images?
Sure.
Those are the ones we're looking for. Oh, no, they're not.
No, not that. Go to the window behind. Go to the bottom where it has images. What are those?
They're grayed out, so I can't select those. Yeah. So anyway,
go outside and turn all your breakers off.
Yeah, I have to restart the
try
computer.
turning it off and on again.
Yeah, why don't you guys discuss something?
Wait 20 minutes and turn it back on, and then we'll all be gone.
Yeah, just discuss what you're discussing, and I'll find this stuff. It'll just take me a minute.
Oh God, yeah, I gotta
tell me a story. Tell a railroad story while I'm doing this.
Well, it was a long learning curve with this PTC. I'm talking years. It took to really get all the bugs worked out, and it works pretty good right now. And they're still adding things, here and there. And like this main track authority, they never did that for a long time. But just recently, right before I retired, they would actually give you the information on the screen, saying you had the authority. Also, I will say this. If before when the dispatchers were actually telling you and you had to repeat it, now it's right there in front of you, printed out. So you could, you didn't have to, try to remember everything they said, the right order. It's there printed out. So, and now you just.
Well, for you, Ozzy and Mike, this stuff's come a long way from.
It should show up.
This stuff's come a long way from train orders, hasn't it?
Oh, here they are. Yeah, I have to save these as JPEGs in order to bring them up on the computer.
Shawn, when I started out, the coast and the valley was still being operated by timetable and train order operations. So it's quite a change in technology.
Yeah,
big change.
I think I figured out a way to do this that'll make sense. So let me bring these up this way. And I think I got this. Oh, now I have to go through I think
I can.
No, I have to go through some other hoops to tell it it's okay to share my screen. Yeah, sorry. I didn't realize I didn't know there was going to be a test on this.
Yeah, this is like an example of learning curve.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm not so sure I'm going to be able to do this, but we'll try. Oh, I have to leave the site. I think I have to leave for a minute. Why don't you guys keep talking?
Well, that was nice.
Talk amongst yourselves.
For all the train enthusiasts out there, I hope we can keep you entertained until John and Murph get back here. But as I was talking to Jarel and Ozzy, I wasn't fortunate enough to come in when there were still train orders. I just heard it verbally, but I heard about the precision you had to have train orders. because you have to know who you're running against, when you had to be in the sighting, and especially running dark territory, on the coast. You really have to know where everything was.
Yeah, I would have exported
the cutoff
JPEG.
between Colton and Palmdale was train orders with dark territory. There were no signals.
Yeah, there was no signals. Yeah,
you couldn't get anything wrong.
yeah.
Yeah, you used to make the LA division where there was no train orders. They had to still have to take the rules test and qualify on the train order territory. And a lot
Right.
of, here you go.
Oh, here we go. The reason why I wanted to bring these up, John, is because we went through the whole PTC system, and for the enthusiasts out there that never seen this system before and kind of like want to know what it looks like. So once we go through all the prompts and it does the air test and everything, and it said, and what it'll do, and I wasn't able to show you, is that it will actually ask you what direction are you going, because it needs to know if you're going west or east or north or south or what have you. And as all train enthusiasts know, there's no such thing as north and south. Union Pacific came up with that crap. On the Southern Pacific, it was either east or west. Either you were leaving San Francisco or going to San Francisco. There was no difference. But once the system comes up, this is what you see. So this is what I see when I come in. So if you see the little shaded area up there, it's kind of vertical.
Okay,
that's my train. So
that would be
right there.
This right here.
That's my train. So you can see where I'm actually at now, where this happened at, this is actually Jimco Yard.
Is that a milepost 405?
No, I'm sorry. Oh, it's 405. Oh, this is at Oxnard. This is Oxnard.
Yeah,
Sorry.
the Mount Oxnard.
This is Oxnard. So we're leaving Oxnard, going back to Jimco. So we're proceeding east. So at milepost 405, the signal there is actually 406. So I'm actually in the siding, which is the first track on the top right there. That's the
right
siding.
here.
Right. Oh,
So
I'm sorry. No, go down a little. Go down one more. In the middle. In the middle.
This one?
That's the siding. That's the siding.
Okay.
So my train's in the siding.
How do you know it's in the
eastward.
siding? Can you tell it's in the siding from this, or do you know you're in the siding because you looked out the window?
Oh God! You better hope you know where you're at.
No, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, is there a designation on here? Like for example, on a model railroad dispatch panel, there would be some other color there indicating that it's occupied, but this doesn't show you that apparently.
Right. I'm trying to think. I'm looking. Okay, Ozzy. Yeah, I'm wrong. I'm not in the siding. I'm on the main track.
But how do you know that?
At the very bottom? See at the very bottom?
Right here?
It says milepost.
Oh, down here. Oh, MT
Right.
is main track.
Yep, main track.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah. I did this a couple of weeks ago because I can't remember where we were at that time.
Okay. But there's no indication on this diagram that you're on the main track other than it tells you down here.
It tells you you're at 405.2, which is the milepost on the main track.
Got it.
Now, if I was in the siding, it would tell me I was in the siding.
Got it.
Yeah. So this is what PTC looks like. So this screen right here is the screen you will get while the computer is trying to figure out where you're at. So what it's doing is looking up and down, just like a signal system, is looking up and down the tracks to see if there's anything there, what's going on, what's happening before it goes to the next screen.
Okay. Should I move to the next screen?
Yeah. Now all of a sudden it goes, oh, I know where you're at. So it shows, see that yellow barrier that I'm in?
Yes.
That's telling me I'm at restricted speed.
Okay.
So if I move forward, I can only go at restricted speed. But that red barrier there is telling me that signal's red.
Right. So you
I
can't go there.
past there. Right.
Yeah. So does it limit you automatically to your restricted speed, or does it tell you yellow? Okay.
knows because it knows where I'm at. So it knows that
Right.
I'm in between two signals. So I don't have a signal to go off of.
Right. Got it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can only go at restricted speed.
Right. Wow.
So, so what happens is once I talk to dispatcher and dispatcher says, okay, signal indication, when he gives me a green signal, that red block will go away.
And is it pretty instantaneous? Like the
It
signal changes?
it takes about, once the signal pops up green, it'll take about 3 to 4 seconds before it'll let me go.
Yeah. So it's pretty instantaneous.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't get a train moving in 3 seconds anyway. So got it.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, I'm going to say something really quick. So you see the heavy blue line?
Yeah.
Heavy
Right
blue.
down here.
Yeah, that is the actual grade of the area. If you can see there, it's pretty flat at that location. And then the single line above, right below the time there, the 22, 38, 53.
This one?
Yeah, that see how it's a little heavier white at that little point?
Right over here?
Curve at that
That's
location.
a curve?
Yep.
Huh.
There's
How do
a
you
big-
know that?
Yeah, there's a big sweeping curve there.
Do you know that because you know the territory, or does this tell
Oh
us?
yeah, I know
it's
it's
a
an
curve?
Oxnard Yard, and there's a big I get almost 90 degree. Oh, it's a 90-degree curve, and it's just telling
Yeah.
you that a curve is at that location.
So this is like the world's worst user interface.
Yeah, this is weird. So this representation that's a little thicker
Right.
somehow tells you it's a curve.
Right.
Yes.
Is that thickness like the strain on the drawbars or something? I don't understand. How do you know that?
Well, it might be. Well, that curve actually has a little bit of a speed restriction on it. So if you were
okay.
going the other direction, it would let you know a curve's coming up, and
Okay.
there might, it would definitely say if there was a speed restriction on it, of course.
Sure.
But
It might
I
even
just
be
wanted to
yellow,
point-
right? What happened?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was
Whether-
asking if there was a speed restriction on it, would it appear yellow or maybe?
Well, it would say down at the bottom. It would say, actually, can you move the thing over to the right a little bit?
Sure.
Screen. Yeah, see where it says next target?
Yeah,
It
right,
would
right
be,
down here.
It would say something like next target 40 miles per hour in 4,000 feet or 2,000 feet. It would literally count down.
Right, right. So that's interesting. So this is almost, it seems to me like this is the kind of information that someone would learn when they're getting qualified on a line, and the computer kind of just tells you what's happening. I mean, I'm sure you still need to know the territory though, right? I mean, you couldn't.
Well, that's a
That's a really good point, because a lot of these guys now are totally depending on the screen to tell them and then not learning the territory.
Oh, yeah, because that doesn't make sense. Like, you'd want to have both, I would think.
You would, yeah. But a lot of people complain about that. They go,
They're not even looking at.
they're not even looking at the territory. They're just looking at the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Like a video
okay.
game.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody's-
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad you included this, Shawn, because that makes the running portion of the experience more obvious, I think, or clearer.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So remember what Ozzy was telling you about that the information has to be correct if you're shoving the train backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So you see my train and it's certain length. Now, if my train was longer than it was supposed to be,
Mhm.
but PTC had it shorter, what it would do is it calculates the time your train gets to a stationary object, like a signal.
Right.
And it judges that, and it knows that if you or say, you know what, let's put it a different way. Let's say that your train is shorter than what's in the paperwork. So say you have a 600-foot train, but in PTC says it's 1,200 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you start shoving back, it's expecting for your train to hit that signal 1,200 feet. If it doesn't, it's going to put you in penalty, because it's going, well, where's your train? Your train should be passing the signal. Now
So
I don't know where your train is. I don't know how long it is, so I got to stop you.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
it
So-
almost sounds like it's too complex or too smart.
It's pretty smart.
Yeah, it's pretty smart in some ways, pretty dumb in others.
I was going to say, yeah, I don't know that I'd
By the way-
attribute smartness to that.
Yeah.
That
So-
question. I was going to say that question on the screen. Yeah, it would update the speed restriction. But go ahead, Shawn.
Yeah, no. So going back to Chia's question, the thing is, I've ridden with younger engineers, and the problem you have is that that's all they do is stare at that PTC screen. They don't look outside. They don't look out the window. They staring at the PTC screen. And the problem is going to happen is that these younger kids are computer inclined and know how to work computers, and that's all they base their world upon. Is that one day this PTC is going to go out, and there are provisions for you to run a train without PTC if it's an en route failure. Then they're going to get in trouble because now they don't know the terrain, they don't know the territory.
Right, which goes to what I was saying, right?
Right. So this thing tells you where the next signal is, how far you are away from that signal. If you are going too fast and not slowing down for the next signal, it will beep at you. If you don't comply with that beep, it'll put you in penalty and stop your train.
So putting you in penalty always means it's stopping the train.
It's putting brakes on the train and stopping your train.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's
and-
called penalty brake application.
correct. So
And,
I just want to
somebody
correct
will
that
be
because
calling-
yeah,
and
because
somebody will be
I
calling
was
you.
just saying an emergency, but it actually puts you in penalty brake application, which means that the difference between emergency and penalty is that when you go in emergency, if an engineer or conductor puts the train in emergency, the air through the train travels at 1,000 feet per. 1,000 feet per second. So it immediately sets the brakes. Doesn't mean you're going to stop, but it immediately sets the brake faster than penalty. Penalty only goes. What is it? Was that
500.
500 feet per second? So what
That's
that
called-
does is
Service
You-
rate.
yeah, you get less reaction from the train, so you don't break into or something doesn't react very violently through the train. So that's the
the
difference.
nomenclature sounds like, again, it's the blame game, right?
But yeah, well that's
Well,
been going on since the inception of the railroad.
And the blame game and kangaroo courts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
And then
but
also, if you don't do something, you are going to get that sends a message right to somebody monitoring all this, and they're going to want to know why you weren't
correct.
slowing down for that curve. Or
Yeah.
why you weren't doing that. Want to know
I
why.
get it if it's something like that, but if there's a discrepancy in the PTC defined length and what your length actually is, first
And-
of all, if PTC was so
Well,
good,
that's
why the hell
funny.
didn't it know it in the first place?
Well,
You could explain that, but you can't explain why you weren't slowing down for the 40-mile-per-hour curve. Why you were doing
absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speeding and the PTC stopped your train.
Well,
Yeah.
but hold on a second. I thought that the PTC would limit your train's speed anyway. So how could you speed through a curve?
No.
It doesn't limit your speed. It just tells you something's coming up. You need to slow
Oh.
down. That's all it
Oh.
does.
So it really is the train control part of PTC then is only if it's like, holy crap, there's going to be a head-on collision. I got to stop these trains.
Yeah, it's a restrictive application. That's all it is a restrictive
Okay.
application. So if I'm running my train and I got a 40 mile an hour curve coming up and I'm still doing 50, and so it'll start to beep at you at 4,000 feet. And if I'm not doing anything to slow this train down, it'll keep beeping me. And as it beeps at me, there's a time frame. It'll clock down from 30 seconds, 29, 28. If you're not reactive, it'll get to 0 and it'll put your train in penalty application.
Got it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So if the guy fell asleep and the conductor was also asleep, like when Mike used to work. But they were both sleeping while the train was running. Then PTC will say, "Okay, these guys are asleep. We got to get someone out there to wake them up. So let's slow that train down so it doesn't."
Well, they'll just slow the train down, and then when you go into some type of penalty, it sends a message to God knows everybody, and then you'll start getting phone calls.
So that might be your new nickname, Penalty Paul or something.
Yeah, that's a good one for Paul. Penalty Paul.
Yeah, Penalty Pete.
Oh, Radar was one of my nicknames.
Radar.
Yeah. There was an official running around with a radar gun, and
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. To answer the question there, what happens if a bulletin or track warrant gets updated during the day? Does PTC know, hey, this change or automatically gets updated? Well, when you get your track bulletin or your track warrant, it stays with you through the tour of your tour of your day. When there is an added addition, it's a twofold. One, the dispatcher will call you on the radio and say, "Hey, we have a 40-mile-an-hour speed restriction that's being implemented at milepost blah blah blah, on this division blah blah blah," and then it will pop up on your PTC, and you have to acknowledge it. And once you acknowledge it, now the system knows, okay, he knows it's in the system. Now, when you get to that speed restriction, PTC will take over and say, hey, you're coming up to 40 miles an hour. But they have to verbally tell you, and it'll pop up on your PTC screen where you have to activate it. Yeah.
Right. So it's almost like the reading back of the old track warrants, right? Where you like check box this to make sure that they understood that you understood.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So the answer to your question, PTC does automatically update. You just have to take the verbal from the dispatcher and also take the acknowledgement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, guys, we're coming up on about 5 minutes. So I had some comments or questions that I had starred early. Is there anything else that we need to talk about PTC, or can I bring up some of these things?
No, you can bring up, yeah.
Okay. So, it looks like they're all Dave Hammer questions. Well, that's okay.
Hey, Dave.
I'm not sure. What is this? That's just a comment. Okay. Only worked on UP, but not on BNSF. Huh. That's interesting. They must have still been implementing it. Yeah, 10 years ago. So this is the real question. Burning question. What do you think about the class ones merging?
A monopoly?
Do you even have an opinion, right?
It's inevitable.
Seems like it, huh?
Yeah.
It's inevitable. Probably it will. I think eventually it'll be there'll be two class one railroads eventually.
Yeah. It'll be just Canada.
Does that seem like something good or bad for employees and customers of the railroads?
Both.
That's my question.
It's great for shareholders. It's great for customers because now you have a transcontinental railroad, literally, where you can run from the East Coast to the West Coast. Now, how seamlessly that will come into fruition is yet to be seen. But as far as wages, things might change depending on, as the years go by, depending on who has the better contracts, what the unions do, what the BLET does, what the trainman unions do. If it ends up, are they going to, will these two railroads end up being like the SP and the UP? Will we end up dovetailing? Or will we be separate? So, there's a lot of things to figure out on that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be working in Alabama for the NS.
Most of us, through the 2000s and what have you, most of us thought that CSX and UP would eventually get together. This was a surprise for me.
Yeah.
Because we had a lot of joint service, and in fact, CSX actually had a intermodal office at City of Industry for a long time. And it just looked like that was probably going to happen. We thought, well, BNSF will probably get together with Norfolk Southern or something. So this is kind of a surprise for me. And it kind of came out of nowhere. But there's a running joke going around, Shawn.
What's that?
Well, if you take the last name of both railroads, you get Southern Pacific back.
So here's another question. Dave's wondering if you run close to home. Well, you kind of answered this because you said you're on the extra board, but is your extra board for locals, or can you get called for anything?
I pretty much get called for anything. Luckily, Jimco's a small yard, so we don't have very many locals. And the only actually mainline railroads, the trains that we have is the MGM, which runs from Van Nuys to Montclair and comes back. And then we have the Guadalupe, and which runs up to San Luis, well, close to San Luis Obispo and comes back. But if anything else jumps in, like work trains, there will probably be some work trains called from the storm we just had. So they'll probably be dumping rock and stuff to shore up the shorelines or what have you. So primarily anything.
Yeah, is that the Guadalupe hauler? Is that what they call that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So if I don't usually get down that far, but if I'm ever out there foaming the Guadalupe hauler, you'll see a guy out there waving at you. It'll be me.
Yeah. Now, Dave said, do I stay close to home? Well, the problem is I live in Bakersfield, California. So Van Nuys is about 96 miles from me. So that's where I drive. Yeah.
But at least you know what to expect, right? Where you're starting off every day. So
yeah. And that's the good thing about working in a small terminal, being on extra board, we can see what's going to come up. So we're not surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. He also would like to know how PTC works, or if PTC works in dark and unsignaled territory.
We don't have dark unsignaled territory anymore. Everything is signal. I think the last dark territory we had, signal dark territory was the coast.
The only thing I'd say about that is it would tell you, if you're on the Santa Paula branch, it will tell you that, when you're getting close to the signal system again. That's about it.
So does it count? Does it count signal if you just have a signal to get back onto the main? Is that considered a signaled territory? Like for example, and I don't know because I've never really examined it that closely, but we have a branch here that comes off the coastline that's called the Hollister branch. It goes about 12 miles or so from Gilroy to Hollister, and it's just a branch. It's a stub end at the end. And all they can do is, I guess run a turn, right? Where they get to the end, they can run around it and pull back. There's no need for a signal because that would be the only train that would ever be on that line at any given time. So wouldn't that be considered dark territory if it's just a branch that goes? Maybe that's what he's talking about. I don't know. I'm just
the answer to Dave's question is PTC does not run on dark territory. It doesn't run in the yards because there's no signal. There's no signals there. It doesn't run on dark territory. If there's no signals, PTC doesn't run.
That would be why it's called dark territory, I guess, huh?
Think about the original design of PTC. It was supposed to eliminate line sign signals.
Wow.
And
so it's supposed to eliminate them completely?
They backed off. With everything's on the screen. You don't need trackside signals anymore. And for some reason that didn't come to fruition. But that was what was forecast with the original proposals for PTC.
Yeah.
Or you could move signals even.
Yeah, they could float. You could have floating authority, floating. Of course, you have to have control points. They can't float. But,
right.
Yeah. Didn't the FRA put a kibosh on that, Mike?
I don't know who. There were different versions that the technical people were proposing, and the one that they ended up selecting was the current one that we have. Amtrak ran a form of PTC that was on the Northeast Corridor. and that was also proposed. I forgot what it was called. Somebody out there might know. And they were running it on most of the Northeast corridor. They actually were kind of ahead of the game.
Does PTC include GPS?
Well, it is GPS based.
Beg pardon?
It's GPS based, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it could go by transponder in the tracks or something like that. Something more local.
Yeah, no, it's all GPS based, and so are our engines. Our engines are GPS based. They can locate any engine on the territory.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what those antenna arrays up on top of the cabs are in the models. It's called a PTC array, and that's, I think, what they're modeling is the antenna or structure that transmits
Right.
whatever GPS
Right.
signals. Yeah.
Yes. Right. It's transitional. Yeah.
Cool.
The
Well,
signal
guys,
system is through the rail.
what is?
But the signal system is, but PTC is GPS based.
right.
Yeah, there's low voltage current through the rail, and the steel wheel and axle going across the rail shuts the rail, and then you have insulated joints that divide the railroad up into blocks, and and there's resistant. It's very sophisticated, especially with grade crossing signals, because it's based on resistance.
Right.
And they look for the resistance, and as it gets closer and closer to the grade crossing, that's where the predictors are that predict when the crossing signals should activate based on speed. And if you stop, they'll time out.
And by the way, the PTC will blow the horn if you forget to blow it.
Are you serious? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
It blows the horn at grade crossings for you?
Yes.
Well,
it will.
it'll just blow a continuous blast.
Just to wake you up saying, hey, idiot, there's a grade crossing. You're supposed to be blowing the horn.
Do they refer to that as a penalty blow or something like that, or what?
That sounds like something totally different. Murph.
Okay. Yeah, we're not gonna touch that, Murph. We're not touching that.
Yeah. There won't be any penalty blows going on tonight. I could think of a lot of things that could apply to.
Yeah.
You know, it's you learn the territories like Ozzy and Mike has, because the most interesting thing I ever did was a fireman was going up the coast in zero visibility fog, and you can't see anything, and you're running with a seasoned engineer, and he starts blowing the horn, and you're going, well, what the hell is he blowing at? And all of a sudden, a crossing goes by. And that's when you tell yourself as a fireman, I have a lot to learn. Because you really have to know where you're at all times.
Yeah.
With PTC, not so much anymore. But coming up, but it's a twofold thing. It's great to know that have the knowledge, know the territory, and it's also to have an aid as PTC to help you, but you can't rely on it.
Right.
Yeah.
The point is, it's more of a crutch that you can use to help yourself walk, but you still have to be able to walk.
Yeah.
In order to use a crutch.
You can crawl, but you have to learn how to walk. Yeah.
That's interesting. So actually I learned a lot, because I mean, you hear about PTC, it's another one of those acronyms, but what happened?
Shawn and I were both looking at the same header.
What's this?
A wigwag. It's a wigwag. Anyway.
Oh, I thought that's this.
No, it's a wig. No, that'll do. Yeah.
Yeah. We definitely had to have our landmarks. I mean, the coast wasn't the only place you'd get fog, and you had to have landmarks so you knew if you're coming up to the end of a siding or up to a signal. Everything's great as long as you're on green, but man, when you pick up that flashing yellow now, and you can't see past the nose of the engine.
Yeah. But one of the first things I learned as a fireman running on the railroad, what's the most important thing you think it is, John?
What, the first thing to learn?
Yeah.
That you have to learn more.
That too. I'm still learning. So
yeah.
No,
See?
The number one thing you learn when you're running a train is when you stop, there's someplace close by to eat.
Oh, okay.
That's the number one thing.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
It used to be
CP
where this
CP
dates me,
Jack.
but you used to have to know where the nearest phone was too,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
in case you had to call somebody.
Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about that on our next section about how we used to take calls on the phone when pay phones and before there were pagers and cell phones and all that stuff.
That could be a great topic for a future cab chatter. It'll be, communications and how they've evolved over the years or something. That could be good.
That's when we really didn't have a life.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So are you guys ready for this?
We're ready for beans.
You ready for that?
Beans.
We're ready.
In that case,
we have our food full.
you know what that is?
We got to tie up first.
We got to tie up first?
Okay. Yeah, tie up first, and then we'll. Okay, well, thank you very much for coming, all of you guys. It was fun. I actually learned a lot.
Yeah.
Considering who was going to be on the show, I wasn't sure I'd learn anything, but now I've learned a lot. So you've proven me wrong.
You know how to bring them back, John.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring you guys back to earth. No, but seriously, I really do appreciate this because, we as foamers, people like to go around and, they're doing this, they're doing that. And 99% of the time, the expert's telling you is wrong. So it's nice to hear from the actual people who do it. And I think it's a good place for that because, as you know, the channel doesn't just focus on models. We do a lot of prototype stuff and heritage railroading stuff and all that too. So it's really nice to have you guys on, and I appreciate it a lot. He does too. He's not saying anything, but he appreciates it a lot.
I'm the sidekick.
Yeah, he's the sidekick. He is the winner of here, let me show you. Murph is the winner of the prestigious Guillermo Award, and he got a new mug today
that
actually has
his
name.
Sweet.
Guillermo inscribed on it.
Yeah. So if you can,
let me leave you with one parting correction from an old head that gets under any old head's skin. Never say drive a train.
That's why I kept laughing and going like, drive a train. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Don't drive a train. Doesn't have a steering wheel. You run a
train. Come on, you guys can swerve.
Yeah, right.
I see it all the time. Train hits pedestrian. I'm like, train didn't swerve.
He's giving it to you.
Yeah.
But Mike, over in the UK, that's what they call them. They're train drivers.
We're not in the UK.
We're not in the UK.
Because the UK is ass backwards.
Right. No, because you could have really
drive on the left side of the car either.
That's what I was going to say. You could have really put that back in my face because I'm the one who said they drive in the wrong place.
Right, and we don't have eyes in front of our engines that move back and forth.
But that too, huh? Or that funky little whistle. Okay, guys, I'm going to end this before we get in trouble. So, thanks everybody else also for watching. We'll catch everybody later. Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
We'll talk to you after the music.
Okay.
Is